let's begin a discussion on this, and specifically because it's an incredible panel this evening on To The Point. Sushant Sareen is joining me as a strategic affairs expert. Ambassador Deepak Vora as well, former Indian diplomat. He's served in some of the regions we are talking about, some of these countries where ceasefire claim has come forth. William Wexler also joining me, Senior Director, Middle East Programs, Atlantic Council. William, let's begin with you. Is this a decisive leadership by Donald Trump? Can this ceasefire be claimed as a success compared to the earlier claims that have come in? Or should we say these were empty words because the missiles are still being fired?
No, it's clearly decisive leadership from President Trump, both in terms of the striking of Fordo and other nuclear sites, and a declaration of a ceasefire. But that's not the end. That's not the definition of success. Success will come if this ceasefire leads to direct negotiations between the United States and Iran, direct negotiations which conclude with Iran giving up on any enrichment of nuclear weapons in its country.
All right, so that's at least, that means there are days to come. Do you see this as a 12-day war ending, or do you think it will continue for the days to come?
The real answer is we don't know, but there's a possibility that the ceasefire will hold. I can only assume, and this is an assumption, that the reason why Donald Trump called for a ceasefire is because he already got agreement from Iran to have those kinds of direct negotiations. Usually, that's a very typical approach for Iran and all of Iranian proxies to do in the middle of a war, where they demand a ceasefire before negotiations begin. Usually, it's not accepted. I suspect, don't know, but I suspect that in this case, Donald Trump did accept it.
Sushant, I come to you. At least from what I can see, 6 claims of truce between nations, Africa to Asia, but wars in most of these regions continue. My question is anyone really even listening to him? Because when he says eventually, just a short while back, what the F, I wonder if he knows what he's doing either.
You know, I thought that Trump 2.0 would be a little less chaotic and erratic than Trump 1.0, but it seems he's gone to the next level now.
Which means
and
what?
he seems to think that the entire world is or contending parties or contending countries are basically two real estate brokers who are fighting with each other about a particular deal, and that he can come and knock their heads together. This is now not how this works. Take the India-Pakistan thing, for example. For 40 years, terrorism has been imposed on us. What the hell has Trump done about it? Right? He goes and sups with the killer of the man who was responsible initially for Pulwama as the ISI chief, and the man who's supposed to have given orders for what happened in Pahalgam, where 26 innocent Hindus were killed. He has a lunch with him, and he has no compunctions. And he then expects that, we will lie flat and prostrate before him because he's some kind of a king or emperor. That's not how the way the real world works. And that's not how he is going to be able to address the concerns of either Israel or, for that matter, of Iran, right? The second thing, and this is even more critical, apart from his personality quirks, the question is, Pooja, has America ensured that the Iranian nuclear facilities that were being targeted have actually been taken down? We are not sure about that, right? What if they have not been taken down? What if, this ceasefire or whatever you want to call it is a work left half done, and largely the Iranian capabilities remain intact? What is he going to do about that then? What if whatever negotiations go on, you have thrown whatever you could at the Iranians? You have not been able to make them budge even
No
a
regime
little.
change.
No, you can't effect a regime change out there, and you've not been able to budge them really, despite imposing all kinds of sanctions on them. And now, because you want to impose more sanctions on them, you are trying to rope in countries like India, which is supposedly a very friendly country and one of the few countries in the world where there is a very positive image of the United States. Most of these MAGA characters are trying to alienate us also. Fine, we'll survive. It'll cause some losses for us, but we'll manage. The world can live without the United States. Can the United States live without the world? So the kind of craziness that we are seeing now in the US is really reaching next level. And frankly, The question is that when Trump very boldly said total surrender, has he got total surrender? Has he got total surrender? I don't think so. And if he hasn't got total surrender, then is this back to taco? Trump again chickens out, or always chickens out. So
And
I
then
don't know.
also, yes.
It's a bizarre world we are living in now, where we thought that the most powerful country in the world had some gravitas in it, had some, something that people could rely on, something that people, you took the words of an American president very seriously.
Correct.
I'm not sure if we can anymore.
That's a strong statement, and that's perhaps what a lot of people have been discussing about. Ambassador Vora, tongue in cheek, if I may ask, is this Donald Trump's world and we are just living in it? At least that's how he makes it appear.
Well, ma'am, thank you very much. First of all, appreciation for permitting me to be on your amazing channel. I learned so much from you in particular. And then a complaint. You have Mr. Veshal and you have Sushant Sareen, whose knowledge is much greater than mine. I feel most inadequate in the presence of these two stalwarts. Now, why did Israel hit Iran? Israel eliminated its proxies. We all know that. It eliminated Hamas. It emasculated Hezbollah, and it told the Houthis, shut up, otherwise we're going to deal with you. Why then did it hit Iran? I've been looking for an answer. I've lived in that region for 20 years. I've visited all the countries involved. They are saying that we want to ensure our survival. We don't accept a nation whose leaders have consistently said that Jews have no right to exist. Israel should be wiped off the map of the earth. So we are hitting the head of the octopus. That was Israel's thing. And when the ceasefire came, Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu, by the way, whom I respect greatly, said that we have majorly achieved our objectives, almost all of them. And so now it was time to accept a ceasefire. For the United States, ma'am, again, they don't like Iran. You know this better than I do.
Correct.
There's a feeling that it's a radical Islamist country, and that if they ever make a bomb, they might sell it to the highest bidder amongst the what is referred to as non-state actors. I don't know what that means, but they might sell it, and America might have to go through another very difficult moment. The scars of 9/11 haven't healed yet. Why did Iran accept it? My own feeling, ma'am, and give me a moment, is that Iran has been so badly clobbered that Ayatollah, who heads the regime, we don't even know where he is. He wasn't seen on Friday press. My own group of people who are very brilliant and much more intelligent than I am, we have an informal group. They say he's hiding in Moscow, where he's having tea with his buddy, the Syrian fellow, Bashar al-Assad, or whatever it was. Now, as far as why did then Iran accept the ceasefire? This, I think, was a face-saving device. Look, Israel came and begged for mercy. So we said, all right, we will forgive you. See what a wonderful people we are. He's got nothing left. His leaders have been eliminated by the Israelis. His strength has gone. His nuclear facilities, whether Mr. Sareen accepts it or not, have been bombed. This is what Bibi Netanyahu said, that we have achieved our objective of eliminating its nuclear and missile facilities. I have no reason to doubt him. If it wasn't there, he would have continued to fight. But for Iran, it was meant to be a victory celebration. I just heard others, I've seen the thing, oh, we've defeated the greatest country in the world. Oh, wow. Mr. Veshal, if you live in the United States, did you know that Iran just invaded your country? Because they've defeated the greatest country in the world. Happy birthday. I don't know what kind of stuff these guys have for this hallucination. But nevertheless, my own feeling, ma'am, this ceasefire is not going to last. It was never meant to last. President Trump, whom I respect greatly as the president of the most powerful country in the world, I might have a different opinion about him as a person, but nevertheless, I've met him a few times. I think he's a great guy. And so what he has gone, and when he said on his way to Brussels that terrible fellows, these Israelis, can America survive, continue to control the Middle East? Bottom line, without Israel, Israel is the chowkidar. Otherwise, all these Sunni Islamic radical fellows around are going to create total chaos in the Middle East. Israel is a force for stability. And ma'am, by way of disclaimer, may I say something also, Mr. Sareen? If you understand why I speak on behalf of Israel, in my extended family in the US, I do have a Jewish daughter-in-law. She calls me dad. So you can understand that my heart goes out to these kids out there, and they have a right to survive. So do the Iranians. But basically, there is a total lack of trust. Until that lack of trust...
Lack of trust in who, Ambassador Vora?
The Israelis to the Iranians to the Israelis. and to some extent, the Israelis in the United States, of course, very little, but the Iranians totally in the United States.
William,
My
do you
own
feel at
feeling-
this? Yes, yes. Go ahead, sir. Finish your point.
Sorry, I was going to complete by saying my own feeling. The people of Iran, whether you like
Yes.
it or not, are living in a house where they are uncomfortable. It's ruled by unelected institutions. There is a racket called the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. If you're not wearing the right clothes or your hair isn't styled properly, you can be picked up and put in jail. No, I don't
Correct.
think, ma'am, a young lady like you, a very elegant lady, would want to live in a country like that.
Absolutely.
But what
I do agree to that. So there are issues
so
clearly with the regime.
therefore, let me say, ma'am, that the people of Iran are living in a haunted house. But what is the alternative? If we overthrow the regime, we get out of the house. The West had made so many promises about liberation. Happy birthday, Iraq. Happy birthday, Libya. Happy birthday, Syria.
About
We know
liberation, Ambassador Vora, and also the Nobel Peace Prize. William, let's address the elephant in the room regularly. And we have put out that statement of Donald Trump that it is very clear now that the incumbent president believes that he's not being given enough credit, that he won't be getting a Nobel Peace Prize despite all his initiatives. Do you believe his initiatives are working? Because from where I look at it, possibly, if at all, we can say with North Korea, the tensions may have eased, but otherwise, whether it's Congo, Rwanda, Abraham Accord, Russia, Ukraine, the war is still on.
You know, I grew up north of New York City and been watching Donald Trump involuntarily since the early 80s, and he
Okay.
has never felt that he has received the credit that he's deserved on any topic whatsoever. So this is just in calling with his longstanding personality. He's also very frustrated that President Obama received the Nobel Peace Prize right at the beginning of his tenure, and so these types of disparities in his mind gnaw him. His policies towards Iran have been confusing to the outside world because, frankly, they've been confused inside the administration and inside of the mind of Donald Trump. He got out of the JCPOA, went to maximum pressure, then came into this administration his second term, firing all the people that were interested in maximum pressure, trying to beg to go into something like the JCPOA again. Then Iran said no. Didn't want Israel to attack. Israel did attack. Then he liked Israel's attack. Then he wasn't going to attack. Then he did attack. So there has been a lack of strategic consistency from Donald Trump. There's no question about it. The question before us right now, where we are, is given the strategic advantages that, to be fair, Donald Trump has contributed to, and
Like what?
Israel has contributed to vis-a-vis Israel. Can they turn that into a diplomatic initiative that can achieve our real objective, which is that Iran is not in a position to pose an existential threat to the region?
What do you think is the biggest objective? You think that Iran has been slightly has been pushed back to a certain extent. Do you think that is an achievement that Trump administration has achieved?
It's absolutely an achievement that the Trump administration has achieved. It's first and foremost an achievement that Israel has achieved through its decimation of its proxies, through setting the conditions for regime change to happen in Syria, losing perhaps Iran's most important proxy, and its response to not one but two direct Iranian attacks on Israel by taking out first its air defenses and then beginning to take out its nuclear program, followed by Donald Trump hopefully completing the job in Fordo. The regime in Tehran is guilty of strategic malpractice and has led itself and its people into a series where Iran's power is severely diminished. That's the reality, and that's why they're hopefully going to come to the negotiating table.
Sushant, I want to take the Nobel Peace Prize question to you because as I checked, out of the 6 US presidents and vice presidents, 5 of them are Democrats, so to say liberals, as he likes to target them with. I think he does have a point there. Barack Obama wanted to strengthen international diplomacy, cooperation among people. Do you think this is Donald Trump's desperation to want a peace prize? Do you think this is the USA's desperation to come across as a big brother in conflicts? Or do you think he has a fair point to say, if I'm trying so much, why don't I deserve the credit for it?
You know, Pooja, I'm shocked that somebody who has been elected as the president of the United States
Yes.
and somebody who occupies perhaps the most coveted and the most powerful office in the world is so petty and so shallow that he hankers for something like a damn Nobel Prize, which even a Malala Yousafzai gets. You know, don't people know what are the kind of people who get Nobel Peace Prizes? Do they actually bring about change in the world? Did Obama deserve the Nobel Peace Prize? What peace did he bring about? You know, so it's the most useless damn thing in the world. I can understand a Nobel Prize for physics. I can understand it for economics. I can understand it for chemistry, literature. But this peace prize is the most third-rate damn prize, yeah. He doesn't need the money. If he wants the medallion, just give it to him, for God's sake. You know, at least, you know, this whole drama will end because it's the most worthless prize in the world. It's mostly given on political grounds because you want to make some, you know, statement somewhere. But why would any person, but why would say somebody like a Mr. Modi in India, who's such a popular leader, who's won 3 elections on the trot, has been in power in one way or another for the last 25 years, why would somebody like him hanker for something as third rate as a Nobel Peace Prize? For what? What does it bestow on you? Who remembers? How many Nobel Peace Prize winners do you remember? Please tell me. Right? Many of which you will remember is out of contempt, not out of any admiration. So my point is, this is the most useless prize. First,
But is that leading to a dangerous game here?
no, but I think what is more concerning as far as I am concerned, and let me just clarify to what Ambassador Vora was saying. I have
Yes.
absolutely nothing against Israel. In fact, I deeply admire that country. I find the people to be really nice people, always very welcoming, very helpful, and very great friends of India. At the same time, I have no truck and I have no brief for the despicable regime in Iran. But I think the Iranians are an extremely proud people and a very, very nice people. And it's a shame to see what is happening to them. So I have a deep admiration for both. But my problem right now on a strategic plane is, look, one, you know, even if you're trying to bring about some kind of a rapprochement in the area, the last thing the broker should do, the middleman should do, which is what Trump is to actually take credit for what's happening. Credit should always be given to the two protagonists, trying to bring them together. Here he is saying that the Iranians wanted, the Iranians are saying that the Israelis wanted a ceasefire. The Israelis are saying the Iranians wanted a ceasefire. Donald Trump is saying his own story. You know, it's
Sushant, that's the question. I want to ask that to Ambassador Vora. Final question, Ambassador Vora. Yes. Yes, that at this juncture, that Donald Trump, in fact, should be more humble and say that the regions have been able to resolve it. Even with India, Pakistan, we have seen how it was about him taking credit while the situation hasn't been resolving in the past few months and weeks itself. Do you think at this juncture, it could be a dangerous game of ego rather than actually bringing in peace in the world and could actually make Israel more defiant against Israel and the USA? Middle East could actually face more tensions.
He has been accused of having a narcissistic personality, whatever that means. My wife accuses me of having that. So I'm not going to comment on the kind of personality that he has. But let me just put it to you very bluntly, ma'am. Experts, international experts, say that we should replace this kinetic military action with dialogue and diplomacy. What dialogue? Sit on a table, put Benjamin Netanyahu and that Iranian fellow in a room, and Mr. Sareen can sit as a mediator. And what are they going to talk about? Israel says, I have the right to exist. Iran says, you don't have the right to exist. Where is the mediation?
And also, again, at this juncture, the mediation that we are talking to, you've also served in some of those countries. Do they really listen to what the USA has to say, or are they looking in 2025 at their own domestic interests? Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your perspective. Yes, for your perspectives and expertise as well. It's a developing story. We'll be tracking what happens in the hours to come between Iran, Israel, and if the USA gets more involved. Thank you so much for watching.